This is Rostra, the St. Theodore Guerin Junior Classical League podcast, where we bring the lessons of classical study into the light for the benefit of all.
Welcome back to another episode of Rostra. We've got Grace Zirkelbach with us. Grace, at this point, I think I'm getting tired of saying this at the beginning of every episode. I always say, this is going to be a really great topic. And they're all great topics. In fact, I think I've even said that before. I mean, they're just all great topics. So there's so much good stuff, mythology, history, language stuff related to Latin and the classical world and so forth. But I know for a fact you've got something really, really cool today, especially because there's even a movie related to it. So we'll get to that in a moment. So tell us, first of all, what is your topic and why did you pick this one?
My topic is Hercules and the 12 Labors, and I picked it because there's like a Disney movie on it, and I wanted to see how accurate it was.
Seriously? So you picked it because of the Disney movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got to ask, when did you first see the Disney movie? Like when you were a kid?
I can't remember. I think I was when I was like really little.
When you were really, really little. Yeah. And you got, come on, it's a Disney movie. It's a song and dance act, right? So everybody now knows that. But quite frankly, the story of Hercules has been popular for 2,000 years, right? So it goes back to antiquity, and everybody's just loved the story forever. So we'll get to the movie in a moment and how accurate you think that was or not. But what is this about? The 12 labors of Hercules. Who is Hercules, and what's the 12 labors all about?
So Hercules is a demigod, and his father is Zeus, and his mother is a mortal princess. And Zeus conceived Hercules when he was already married to Hera. So Hera was trying to seek vengeance on Hercules, and she's tried to kill him since he was a little baby. And so one time she put him in a state of madness, and then because of that, he was he killed his wife and his children. And when he realized what he did, he had to seek out Apollo for guidance, and Apollo told him to go to the king. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Aegisthus.
Okay. And the king...
No, I'm sorry. King Eurystheus. Eurystheus. Sorry, I was thinking about something else.
And because of that, Hera had already came to see him, so she was make him do impossible tasks to grant his immortality back. And then, so that's how the 12 labors came. And they're really dangerous tasks that he wasn't supposed to survive.
Okay, so I am going to go ahead and cut to the movie just briefly, and then we'll cut back to the labors and then come back to the movie again. Obviously, Disney is not going to make a movie about the king of the gods cheating on his wife with a mortal. First off, Disney's not going to tell that part of the story. Yeah. Then he goes crazy and kills his wife and kids. Disney's not going to tell that. And so a friend of mine, a professor at Indiana University, a guy named Tim Long, was telling me the story that when Disney was going to make this movie, somebody from the studios had contacted him as a classics professor, said, hey, can you send some information, some background on the story? And so back in that time, it was faxing, and so he faxed material out to Disney. And they called him up a couple hours later, and they said, we can't make a movie like this. This is so violent. It is. And so they obviously had to make some changes to make it the song and dance act that it became and fit for a Disney movie. So we'll come back to the movie again. But so 12 labors, 12 impossible tasks to basically atone for this. So what were some of these tasks? I mean, what makes these things so impossible that only a demigod would even have a shot?
So one of them was capture the golden hind. That's the third one. And there was a hind, and it had golden horns. It was a deer. It had golden horns and bronze hooves. And it was sacred to Artemis?
Artemis, yeah. Okay.
And she's the goddess of hunting and animals. And so Hercules couldn't kill it, so he hunted it down for a year. And so the only condition he could kill it and take its hind back was as long as the hind came back perfect and not damaged.
Yeah. You gotta admit that's dedication. Hunting something down for an entire year. So something that pure mortals would have given up on. Mm-hmm. Demigod, he stays with it. Give us some of the others, because these are some fascinating challenges, if you will, to try to accomplish.
So there's another one that has, you have to clean the stables of King Aegeus.
Algaeus, yeah.
And I don't know, like when I first saw that, I was like, oh, that can't be too hard.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, hey, they got pets, you got a dog, you got a fish tank, you clean it out, this is no big deal, right? Mm-hmm. How big a deal could it be to clean out some stables?
So he agreed to letting him clean out the stable as long as Hercules would not be able to complete the task. So he went into the mindset with Hercules was not going to be able to complete this. And that was only labor 5.
Yeah.
So, but he eventually did. He had refused to pay Hercules with 1/10 of his cattle.
Uh-huh.
And Hercules took the matter to judge where, the determined, reward should be. And Hercules returned home where, I don't remember how to pronounce the king's name.
That one, I will be honest, I've forgotten off the top of my head. So
okay.
You can just go on with that.
And the king had told him that the labor did not count as he had used the rivers to clean the stables as well as accepted an award for the labor.
And that's the key part of that one is the guy didn't just take a hose and hose out these stables. Hercules, being Hercules, actually changed the course of a river, channeled an entire river through the stables in order to clean them out. So again, something a typical mortal would not be able to do. So yeah, give us a few more. What you got?
Obtain the cattle of Grayon.
Geryon, yeah.
That's number 10. And Hercules had to travel to the island of Erythea.
Yeah.
To retrieve cattle. Along the way, he had to kill many beasts in order to figure out where the cattle were.
Yep.
And once he located the cattle and began the journey home, bulls within the cattle got loose.
Yes.
And Hercules would have to abandon the herd to find ones that had run away. Hercules had finally gathered the herd and took them back, and he sacrificed all of them to all the cattle to Hera.
So he's performing the role of basically almost like divine cowboy, divine stable boy. So these are incredible things, and we'll see if you got some others that you might want to share there. But one of the things that you draw from this, and I think that people love about these kind of stories, same thing like we like about the Avengers and all the Marvel movies, we like seeing people, even though they're superheroes, or in the case of Hercules, demigods, we like seeing people overcome these extraordinary odds, right? I think about especially that first Avengers movie where, all these creatures from space are coming in and attacking Manhattan, right? Well, nobody could stand up to that except superheroes. And so we like the idea because it's inspiring and motivating to us. So maybe give us another one or two, whatever you'd like to do there, and then we'll circle back and talk a little bit about that Disney movie.
The last one really stood out to me. It was the 12th one, and he had to capture the 3-headed dog.
The 3-headed dog, yeah. Now, where was the 3-headed dog?
It guarded the gates of the underworld.
Guarded the gates of the underworld, right? So this is not going down to your local pet store and picking up a poodle, right? So you got to go to the underworld, which typically living people don't get to go do that. You got to be dead to go to the underworld. And how did he manage to capture the 3-headed doggy of the underworld?
He had to travel through a deep cave, and he battled many beasts and monsters through the underworld until he reached Hades. Hercules had to ask Hades if he could take the Cerberus.
Cerberus, yep.
To the surface. Hades agreed only if Hercules could restrain the beast with his bare hands and no weapons.
Yeah, yep. And, at some point, you may read the great Old English epic poem Beowulf. Same thing. That character, at some point, he dives down into a lake and he fights all these monsters and he kills a monster with his bare hands. And so a lot of these stories just keep coming back through other literature. There's a similar thing, quite frankly, with some of the stuff in whether it's Harry Potter or Star Wars, or where you've got a character that's got to battle these things and seemingly going it alone and so forth. And so it's no wonder that somebody would want to make a movie about this. Disney happens to be the one to pick it up. So your original thought was you want to look into this, see how accurate the movie was. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's very accurate.
Not very accurate, yeah. So other than the fact, obviously, they didn't talk about his, how should we put it, less than ideal birth circumstances. That's about the most polite way we could put that. His murderous background. So he totally ditched that. What else did you think was not really accurate in terms of the Disney depiction?
I can't really remember. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah.
But what I remember is, like, there was not a bunch of killing in the Disney. Like, I know she tried to kill him, like, to keep it accurate, like, a little bit, like, poison him. Other than that, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, there's only so far Disney will go with the dark stuff. And on the other hand, do you really want Disney making blood and guts violent movies? No, we expect Disney to be song and dance acts, right? So, you know, that's kind of what we would want from that. So now here's the thing. Knowing what you know now, do you think that you could go back and watch the Hercules movie and still enjoy it?
Yes.
I think so too. A lot of people get hung up on stuff like that. They're, oh, well, it wasn't accurate, you know. Well, okay, but they weren't trying to make some documentary. I mean, you want that? Go watch PBS, all right? I mean, that's not what Disney does. So, yeah, you know the actual story, the myth, and you can read, people who are listening to the podcast, they can go read some of the other labors or some really fantastic ones. Enjoy that for what it is, and then go watch the Disney movie and have fun with that. So, yeah. Well, Grace, thank you so much. I think this is a wonderful episode. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Rostra. You may check out all our episodes on Spotify and follow us on social media at GuerinJCL. That's at GuerinJCL.